From Senegal to Sugar Hill, trace the bloodline. 100 years of brilliance through the color line. They thought the shackles broke but kept the mental chain. Langston penned the future while they legislated pain. Harlem's ballrooms birthed the cosmos in mahogany, while lynching trees still decorated southern botany. Josephine, Waker's pearls and Garvey's Navy ships. Du Bois debating destiny with scholarship on his lips. The Renaissance was a renaissance, it was resistance, fam. Every trumpet blast from Armstrong was a battering ram. They gave us minstrel shows, we gave them Sora Neal. Turned depression into art, made the fabricated real. Cotton Club excluded us from tables every set. Performed the Deanest nightly, never free from the deck. But Bessie Smith could shatter glass, shatter cash, shatter lies. Every note she sang contained a revolution in the sky. Build temples from the rubble, make cathedrals from the struggle. Turned the margins to the center, now they study what we scribble. We build temples from the rubble, every generation double the inheritance of genius that they tried to keep us from. Fast forward through the decades, watch the pattern reassemble. Malcolm's speeches, Martin's marches, every voice begins to tremble to the earth until the structure shows its fractures. FBI was tracking every coon with every pastor, every actor. 40 acres never came but 40 minutes on a stage. Can reconvene your consciousness and channelize the rage. From bebop to hip-hop, the fool lines mathematical. Each generation weaponized the beautiful, the radical. They gave us Reagan, now there's crack and mass incarceration. We gave them Public Enemy and blueprints for liberation. The Harlem Renaissance never ended, just evolved its form. Every freestyle cipher is a brainstorm, he's a storm. Where the children of the talented, the tenth that was prophesied, inherit the fire that the water couldn't wash aside. They tried to write us out the narrative, we offered all on text. 100 years of proof and that we're destined, where was next? Temples from the rubble, made cathedrals from the struggle. Turned the largest to the center, now they study what we scribble. We built temples from the rubble, every generation double the inheritance of genius that they tried to keep us from.
All right, welcome to Undergroove Podcast. I'm here with our guest, YACINDA. In our previous episode, we were having the discussion. We had to cut it short, but I promised that we would make a part 2 of that discussion, and that's what this will be. All right, we're discussing the responsibilities. This is how I see the responsibilities of the man as much as those of the woman. Are they equal or are they separate? You know, I tend to think that a woman's role is way more than society tells her it is. You know what I mean? That's just my take on it. When you talk about strength, there's no greater strength on the earth than that of a woman. When you talk about protection, there's no greater protection than that of a woman. And I don't care who she's protecting.
I'll agree.
Okay? Now, when we're talking about a relationship, a marriage, just a relationship, that relationship, I think, it's my opinion, should be had or done, or it should be lived in equalness, you know, just serious, period, point blank. What's expected of the woman should be expected of the man. What's expected of the man should be expected of the woman. There should be no decreases or increases. There shouldn't be a 70-30, a 60-40, none of that issue across the board. Okay. That's my stance on it. Now,
okay, I agree with you. Let me tell you where the problem is. And it's not necessarily a societal thing, but and a societal thing. The bigger problem is communication. Because again,
where does that come from?
If
Where
you don't have this of not having the proper language and being able to have courageous conversations, right? So when you, because men and women brains are made very different. Mm-hmm. We're set up different, right? So you can say it's equal 50-50, but we pull our loads in a different way. So yes, we are great protectors. Yes, we are very strong. Women are very strong. Yes, women, because our brains work in a way that we know how to, we can dissect it and put it together in a different way than men can. You're a warrior, so you know how to fight. You know how to do all of those things. Where the problem falls is men, in my opinion, in my experience, forget to be that woman's warrior, right?
I don't disagree with that.
They will go out and fight for everything else but her, right? So you want me to still be this strong woman to care for your kids, to care for your house, to cook for you, to all the things that go with that, but you're not being my warrior. That's where the problem will start. Not done yet. So we started having a conversation of from the beginning in historical. And I just want to give clarity. I'm going to come from a biblical standpoint because I'm a Christian. So I'm going to come from a biblical standpoint. And from a biblical standpoint, the man was made first and the woman came from his rib, from his side, not his backside. Not she was standing beside him, right? She came to be his helpmate, which meant that she only came to help him, not do all the things, and then he's her helpmate. So from my perspective, that is the way it's supposed to go. From your perspective, you're like, it's the feminine and all the things. I love that.
No, wait. Let me stop you short. I can tell you my perspective better than you can.
Okay, good.
So
I love that.
I'm going to tell you my perspective.
Yeah.
In terms of how you just laid it out, that's your belief. That's your faith. That's what you work on. Everyone's not on that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And
I'm not coming from an agnostic viewpoint, an atheistic viewpoint. I'm coming from a more scientific, spiritual viewpoint. All right. So when you're talking about biblical things, that would pertain to you. That would suffice for you.
Yeah.
It won't for me because my understanding, what I've learned about all of it can't be trusted to a great extent. All right. And the reason why is because it has been manipulated.
And I will agree with that.
All right.
Absolutely.
And hey, it was set out to manipulate, to control.
I disagree.
Okay?
I think that the people that use it as a controlling mechanism, they deceived in using it. But when you go read it for yourself, and when you go look up words, and when you get an understanding of what is being said, and put the historical part with it, then when you put it all together, the pieces together, then it makes absolute sense. Then it's a game changer, because if you take what you've heard through centuries, but you never picked up that book for yourself, then you're just gonna go by stories and folklore.
Is that the only book you picked up?
Oh no, I've read other books.
Do you know what came before that?
Before the Bible? I'm gonna go no.
Okay. So there are texts, ancient texts that the Bible derived from.
Oh no, that part. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes, I understand.
Okay.
I do understand that.
Most of what most people read in the Bible came from another text that had already existed for millennia. It was just adopted. It was whatever parts they found, the commandments, all this stuff, the Old Testament specifically.
Right.
Is what we're talking about. So when you're talking about Old Text in terms of, and it wasn't called religion.
Okay.
It was more of a spiritual connection. The fact of the matter is, most of what a lot of Christians believe in, it's adopted belief from something else. You never get to where it comes from. You guys you start there and stop there.
Not you.
Well, excuse me, most Christians.
And that's where the problem. Look, and I'm going to agree with you, right? Okay. I probably will agree with you on a lot of the points as it pertains to Christianity, because once I started doing my own deep dive, it changed my whole projection, my whole thought process, all the things, right? Because we're absolutely taught wrong.
Absolutely.
We're absolutely left out a whole bunch of information.
It's why we have a lot of problems.
It's why we have, because nobody wants to change their mind, right? They want to pass on all these beliefs. Even to think that Jesus was blonde hair and blue eyed. If you know regions, you know that can't come out of that region.
But they'll fight.
And I love that for them, right? But at the end of the day, the them doesn't matter, right? So it doesn't matter to me that, because did they use the Bible against us for slavery? They absolutely used the Bible against us for slavery. They took out what they wanted to. They let us read what they wanted, or they let you preach what they wanted you to hear. That's legitimate. Although in the Bible, they were not talking about that kind of. They weren't talking about the where they shipped them from.
Exodus or
no, like from Africa over here. They were talking about really indentured, where you owed somebody, right? So that's not the same thing as chattel slavery. That's not the same thing. So, but because no one goes and does the history and breaks it down, you don't understand. So it looks like, oh my God, the Bible had us some slaves. That the language, you got to know language of that time. You got to know the culture of that time. There's so many other variables that nobody dig into. So then we become, as Black people, so angry. That's a white man's religion. It's absolutely not a white man's religion. Because again, if you know regions, the first Bible was an Ethiopian Bible. They look like us. When they got receipts now that on every continent, people look like us more than look like them. So I get the propaganda that the white people that sold us all this time, and we've chosen to believe it. They've told us a lie across the board. So most of what we probably believe the same thing. We just haven't had that deeper conversation. So I don't believe like, oh my God, it's a blue-eyed and the white man. I don't understand. They probably pissed off because we weren't here first. Well, we might not.
God will descend on a cloud.
We might not agree with that. You might have some stuff with that. Because I believe that there is a heaven. I believe that there is a hell. I believe that we can live in hell or in heaven on earth. I believe that for me.
And God is separate from us.
Well, because we have to have there has to be a beginning, and he was the creator, right?
So wouldn't that make him a part of you?
He's a part of me. Absolutely. That's what the Holy Spirit is. Absolutely, right? So, but that doesn't mean that everybody taps into it. Right? They don't tap into it.
So now we're talking about spirituality.
So it's about the spirit. But remember, if there's a Holy Spirit, there's an unholy spirit.
But again, you have to take into account if we're talking about religion as opposed to spirituality, those are two totally different things.
Well, I don't deal with religion because even in the Bible says do not do religious things.
What
right?
is Christianity?
So that's just, I actually am a follower of Christ. So to say, so that's a really broad term that I don't necessarily follow. Right? So yes, that's very different. And the reason, if I get it wrong, well, if I get it right, I don't lose anything. But if I get it wrong, hell is long. So, and even if I don't, the principles are there, it's going to make me better. So what do I have to lose? What do I have to lose if it makes me a better person? If you think about the fruit of the Spirit is to be gentle, kind, long-suffering, meek. How does that make me wrong? How does that make me not a better person? Because if you really read the word versus let somebody else tell you what it is, it's going to make you transform into a better person. So even if there's no heaven or hell or the God that you say that's not there, I've become a better person on this earth right now. So I've lost nothing. But let's say that everything in that book is right and you can go to hell into outer darkness that it talks about, and I choose not to do that, then that's eternity, which is way longer than this earth, that I would have to deal with. I'd rather be wrong about a God that's a fairy tale and be a better person for it and still believe in him than go to hell and burn over and over again into outer darkness.
Okay.
That's just my view on it, right? Okay. But no, I'm not per se a Christian because it's a whole bunch of people in hell that had the title of Christian. It's about the walk. How are you presenting?
Well, I don't know where they are, but hey.
Well, that's my belief, right? Yeah. So we've agreed that we don't necessarily agree on that one. But it's really about being a better person. And with that, where can you lose?
That's the whole point, right?
Where can you lose?
Right. So then let's get back to the court, the argument, or the debate.
Sure.
And we're talking about as specific as we can be from our opinions or perspectives, the man and the woman having this equal, this balance,
right?
For them. You said men are warriors.
Yes.
So are women.
Absolutely.
In fact, some of the best.
I'm not going to even deny that.
Historically speaking, I give you that. All right?
Yeah.
Now, my point was this, and I think it's straightforward. If you have two people and there's love there, there's a relationship, they're in this thing for the betterment of both, then hey, it's incumbent on both of them to produce. again, that 60-30, 60-40, 70-30, that makes no sense. You know, if we're in this, we're going to be in this. Now, if something occurs where there's a situation where she can't carry her, you know, if that relationship is such where,
Right.
and we see this, you know,
Right.
this exists in this day and time. If it's conversely where hey, I got you.
Yeah.
No problem. But the objective is always to do this thing together.
Right. And you still have to have conversation.
You have
You
to.
still have
I don't
to be
disagree
able
with that.
to. So
Communication.
the root of it is courageous conversation,
Mhm.
right? So in the dating, that's where you have to come in that I don't have nothing to lose, and I'm gonna put all of me of what I need on the. This is what I need. These are mine.
Okay.
Like you should have rules for life. There's certain rules for life. And vice versa. Let's keep it 100. Is this your expectation? Because a lot of people will go with, a lot of people be like, oh, I don't want kids, right? You say that on first, say on the 15th date, you say it just before you get married, I don't want kids. The other person might be like, we'll convince you later, right? No, believe me when I tell you, I don't want kids. But instead of being curious of, well, why don't you want kids, right? There could be a root system of why don't you want kids. That's a deeper conversation. That's a courageous conversation of why don't you want kids, instead of I'm going to push forward because I love you so much. Sometimes love hurts in letting you go, because I can't be the best version of me if I can't meet you at your point of need. I can't meet you at the point of need if you say you don't want kids and I do, right? Because then somebody's going to be miserable because either I'm not going to get a kid, or you're going to have it, or I'm going to have it, or whatever. A kid is produced, and then you're miserable because now I have this birth, right? Instead of us having a courageous conversation and then being like, you know what, I love me enough to say it's not going to work. So yes, it absolutely should be 50-50, right? You're
And
absolutely.
it should absolutely be conversation.
It should be right, hard conversations that will make you uncomfortable. Some things you don't have to always reject, like, okay, that doesn't work. Can we collaborate? I don't use the word compromise,
Or
because a
negotiate.
compromise is somebody loses and somebody wins. A collaboration is we're going to work together to get to the same point. So I might have to leave this over here and we create something new together to get to the same point. But I can't compromise because I'm not going to lose a piece of me to make sure you're good, and I don't want you to do the same.
And so that being said, that won't work either if the woman has a preconceived notion that as a man, his responsibility is all this.
Well, that's the brokenness of a woman. That's her brokenness.
Okay.
Because she might come from a daddy wound, or she watches too much social media, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to fill this void, and you need to do this and this and this and this. But that's not what I'm not here for, right? Because two broken people don't make a whole relationship.
Yeah.
You need to come into the relationship whole. So if you have this expectation, and still on the other person too, I can't meet that expectation. I'm not going to be all that.
All right.
Right? And we get to go, well, we don't have to have an argument about it. I just don't. I'm not built that way.
Okay.
So at some point, it has to be okay. And we might have to end the relationship and be friends if friendship is on the table.
That's the cards.
Yeah. So, yeah, we should be able to, because we become one. So we should move one band, one sound.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I think though, part of, I agree with what you said. That's how it should be. That's how, that should work. That's not always the case. We agree.
No, absolutely.
We agree on that.
More than not, right?
Right. You see that more often than not. But so I think though part of the problem in society is that there's been this onus, this burden, and I have to label it like that, put on men to be this great protector and provider, and that comes into play as a result of chauvinistic ideologies that have been placed on us in society. Again, this paternalistic. The world is paternal. It's ran by men.
So tell me what would be the resolve of that?
What would be the resolve to end that?
Yes.
Well, quite simply recognize who is first. One, or at the very least, understand that paternal. Without maternal, there's no.
Okay. Right.
You got to have the woman in the mix, and I mean in the mix.
Yes, I can.
Just as much as you want the man in the mix.
Absolutely.
All right.
Right.
There you see a lot of this on social media where our sisters, first thing they get to talking about is what type of man they want, what type of money he makes,
Just ridiculous.
which is just absurd. It's
superficial.
all of that is also the making of this paternalistic world or society.
Right, but we have so with that you get no argument because honestly I think it's absolutely ridiculous, right? Because when women, so what they'll do is you got to make this money, you got to look like this, and then they're like they're in a gilded cage.
Yeah,
because I got all this money now, I got control. What price are you willing to pay? Right, when you have the guy that might work at McDonald's, I'm striving, I'm gonna be kind and gentle, and I'm gonna show up when I show. I'm gonna do all the things, but that's not good enough because we have to have this look, right? So, I don't agree with that philosophy. I think that's stupid. That the man has to have this number, and you don't even know that you're setting yourself up for failure because you're putting him in a power position. And you think that you're being the one in power by being able to say those things, but the power shifts because there's no way a woman can beat a man physically without a little bit of extra, right? I can't fight you. I couldn't fight my husband and win, right? So
that depends on it again.
I'm saying me. I'm in my dating
season
right now.
You're
I'm in my dating season now. I don't want to fight.
Yeah,
okay. Now I might give you a run because, at the end of the day, your testosterone, you're built to be able to fight me and beat me up. Let's just be one. There's some women that, they got a little more testosterone, they can all the things, right? But in general, that's not how women are built. In general. So, the power play can flip because if the man is all he's driven to make money and have that trophy girlfriend, because that is a play for him too. Make no mistake. That I got this trophy woman with this BBL and she and I got this money and she got the look. And then if he gets intimidated by her, then he's gonna flip the power play. And now he's going to bring his masculinity in it. And now I have to lord over you because I'm the one making the money. I'm the one doing da 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 da.
Or just go find him another trophy.
Or get another So that's why they have a side chick. But she's no longer fulfilling because now she's becoming a prop. She's not soft and dainty or whatever, right? So whatever it is, it's still turned into disaster because he only wanted to fill a void because he needs to look. And I'm in competition with the next man. So I drive a Ferrari. I got all this money. I got this bad babe. And I don't know how to have a relationship and a conversation with her. But she's saying, I need this and that. Girl, I'll buy you a shut your mouth. I'm going to buy this purse. And we're going to go here. And I'm still detached from it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm under the impression that we see a lot of the issues we see, especially, between men and women in society because of the way the system has been.
It's absolutely a system. Absolutely. I agree.
Women, their roles have been, determined for them. And this, again, I think this is a problem. Their roles were etched in stone and brown.
Well, what is that? Tell me, what does that look like?
Of the role of a woman?
Yeah.
She's first. Period, point blank. She was everything that men are saying they are.
Okay.
All right. That's what that looks like.
Okay, so when you say that, now qualify it into if that's not what we have, how do we flip it back to that? And what is the expectation of the man within that construct? Tell me, what does that look like?
So, the same way we have the discussions about men taking responsibility, doing what they're supposed to do, understanding what their role is. I think the same can apply to women.
Okay.
When you get women out of that mindset, and you, the same way we're trying to lace men to be men, you should do that with them.
Right.
You know, you put before them what their roles really are. You know, but not just their roles. You know what I mean? Because that sounds kind of chauvinistic. You know, but what they are, what their abilities are.
Right.
You know, when we get that to that, then I'm thinking you have a plane now where you can build from, where there's equal, there's you're on the same level. You know, it's all about the mindset. You said earlier, and I agree. And when it comes to women, it's also a fact that they need, how they think needs to be restructured.
Absolutely.
You know, and until we get to that, we're gonna see everything take place. It's my opinion that women are the catalyst to change.
I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Okay, and especially that change that's needed for Black men and women in this on this planet. Without them, and then see, I'm not talking about this BS. I'm talking about the strength of a Black woman. And I'm not talking about all women. Let me be specific.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the strength and ability, the superpower of Black women. There's no, again, just
when you say that, okay, give me a little bit more information in that. Give me I need a little bit more information when you say that when they get back to, I get it, their strength, they're warriors, they're that. But what does that look like in a family system? What does that look like?
What it has looked like before what we see now. It was always the woman at the head of the household, in spite of what we've been told. All right? In spite of what we've been told, the purse strings knew how to, that was their, hey, give that money.
Yeah.
And made it do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Made sure he was on his game, made sure they were on their game. And not only because she was in authority, but because she wanted to be the example. You know what I mean? That's what we've fallen from. That's what women, our sisters, have fallen from. Again, that strength, that ability to lead. That's God. That's the Black woman's history, historically.
Yes.
And I mean before.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, right? So now we're here, right? Okay, so I love that explanation. I love that. And I don't disagree with you. I think the challenge would be
getting Black women to appreciate themselves.
That part, but I don't know that to be in a relationship with a man is to listen. No, let me tell you why it does matter. Let me tell you, because you spoke all those things of what it was before, right? And we didn't speak about the man's mindset of what it was before. So, but now where we are right now and how society has set it up, we got a man's ego, right?
Yep.
So now what do we do with that? Now we have this strong woman that you want to be strong, and this male ego that is like, I'm the head, I'm the da-da-da-da-da, because this is what society has presented, right? So now what do we do with that component there? Because either he's going to feel emasculated in it and have to dominate, right? Or he withdraws and does nothing. So what do we do with that part of it? Because I was a single mom. I didn't have a choice to be that very woman that you're talking about. I had to make sure all the things were taken care of. So when you get into a relationship, to put that down, that's very hard for me, right? Personally, that's very hard, right? And still have a balance of not making me feel emasculated.
Why is that hard?
Because I know how to make this move.
But why is it hard to make the move?
Because then you have the man that is like, but I'm the husband, I'm the boss of you. because that's what society has given up underneath that title. That's the description thereof, right? So then you still have this battle. Oh, I can be that. Hands down. Got it. Let me do this, right? But on the other hand, I'm tired as well. I'm tired. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have that role. I want to be held up. I want to be in my dainty season. If that makes sense. Now, I think some people have jumped the gun and they just want to be dainty their whole life. And, no, I can't do anything. I'm damn so in distress. I ain't live that soft life.
Let me go back about 6 decades. 6 decades. What occurred to the Black household 6 decades ago? What took place?
So yeah, that's when the separation.
But that ain't the only thing. Also, at that time, it was implanted in black women's minds that they didn't need men.
Well, yeah, that's the separation. Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
The separation occurred because they used economics as the key, the wedge.
Yeah.
Now I think after that, hey, our sisters took it on themselves to
I'm gonna go
say, by the way,
that's a deeper conversation because we go back 6 decades. A lot of women stayed, right? Because of the economics. Yes, they brought a wedge, but that don't mean that they was under the best circumstances in the house. Because I can go from my family standpoint, 6 decades, he had a whole other family. And they was having kids together at the same time. So that doesn't mean she was living her best life. Right? So it still came with a price. That still was that man wasn't being whole and or honest. So yeah, they were in the home partially, I suppose. There was a lot of grandmothers that took a whole bunch of stuff from their men because y'all stay in the house, you gotta stay married, you gotta do this, no, you can't go to work, you can't do. That was a whole nother time. And do I believe that women's liberation was a great thing? I don't.
Well,
I don't think that was an amazing thing. I think that
clarify.
definitely tore especially the Black homes down. It's so many moving pieces in that part of the conversation, right? And we can't negate it and be like, well, had it not been for this, it wouldn't have been that. But had it not been for that, it wouldn't have been this. It's a bigger conversation. And it still comes down to you get to make a decision today because of all the history. So if I go back 60 years, I don't know that I would want to have to stay home and not do blah blah blah. Right?
Allow me to clarify something.
Yes, sir.
So when we go, let's go back 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
That would be what? 1960. Yeah. 60. What? 65. 65. Okay, yeah. There's no 66.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. Because we're going back 60.
We're going back 6 years. 66. 1966. What occurred? The system came into the Black household. All right. It came into it, but it came in to destroy it. It came in to emasculate the Black man. What they did first was removed all the jobs and industries from the communities. That's what they did. They removed them. They removed them and sent them somewhere else. Now you left the Black man in the position where he was not able to provide. Right. What they did then is they came behind the Black man and said, you can't take care of you. But we have welfare.
I agree.
All right. So what we want to do with this is we want to give you this welfare, but you got to keep him out the house.
I agree.
All right.
I agree.
You have to keep him out the house. That's the only way we're going to get this money. But we know it's hard.
Yes, sir.
He don't have a job.
Right.
He's barely here anymore.
Right.
So they emasculated the Black man in front of the Black woman. And what she did is went along with that, basically.
Right. Because what was she left to do though?
That's a whole nother conversation.
Okay.
From my mouth to your ears.
Okay.
I can give you a whole bunch on that. But,
we're
running out of time.
Okay.
I think there's going to have to be a Cinda 3. Let's get ready to do that thing right now.
Okay.
So, again, this is our guest, YACINDA, man. This is our mental hygienist. And I don't know, she might be doing a number on me. I'll let you know later because We enjoy her. You know, her presence here means a lot to this channel, and we've heard that from you guys. So, part 3 coming up. Take care.
Count the names, count the bodies, count the victory. Cullen Hughes, Hurst, and writing future history. From the Apollo to the borough to the sphere. Where the echo of those Harlem nights still ringing clear. So when they ask what happened in those tenement flats, between the spirituals and where consciousness is at, tell them we transform suffering to scholarship and song. Tell them we've been telling you we're brilliant all along. The Renaissance will prologue every decade since the sequel. Every black child born's continuation of the people who survived the Middle Passage, survived the Jim Crow laws, and built magnificence from nothing but their vision and their flaws. That's in the sergeant. This is once a less than had this and Mercedes. Please don't you, I can't stop us. Power sensitive plot to the appeals for polls. Need your data, tropes, and counsel any problem when the wet just wanna build the season big. Now don't get the pause. It's just the raising up the times. Plead the markets off the main. Make the honor fans turn and neck and love the durn. Suffer like the kesha. You went from the preaching up. I'm side as each alone, bitch on the shit and untrue seeing vets. Someone the very it's on Gary Land. Be hell in heaven, you see what the bonafide. If wait talking for the mark, make the key to pull the club and saw the bloods to the single land is carried open slowly. Keep us looking on my mother, break it, and resi for the he and let the best be is every time it keep us spawn.